Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to It's Still Real to Me. I'm your host, John Kucher, aka Johnny Fashion. Got a couple of my bros up in here tonight. Like always, Big Bad Harmon. How are you?
Doing good, man. Kind of eased back on a little bit of the wrestling. I try not to stay up until the very end of the show because I have the network and YouTube and Hulu. I can finish watching it the next day, and it's made my life better.
Yes. Yeah, man. We've been saying for like weeks now, ever since the brand split, pretty much. Man, so much wrestling, but I'm with you. I'm slowly catching up. I got Cruiserweight Classic kind of caught up. Backlash finally caught up. We were just talking before we went on the air about Backlash. Like I would watch like a match a night. It just took me forever this week to kind of catch up. So, but yeah, I'm glad I'm caught up. Also joining us tonight, Dave Dyer. Welcome back. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, sir. It's good to be back on.
We love having you.
Awesome.
Yeah, we love having you on the show,
Live from the
buddy.
West Coast.
It's true. It's true. Live from my apartment here in downtown Seattle.
How's Seattle?
Seattle's pretty nice. It's still nice weather out here so far. The rain season will begin in October, so still got a few weeks of sunshine left, and then about 6 straight months of rain. It's gonna be
Nice. What are you doing out in Seattle? How's the Seattle Times gig going? You writing for them periodically?
It's going good, man. I'm doing a lot of freelance work with the Seattle Times, the U.S. Olympic website, and some stuff here and there too. So it's been pretty good. Might even be able to be doing some Portland Trailblazers game coverage here in
Nice.
the future too. So I'll be hitting the road, the West Coast road. Up and
Clyde
down.
Drexler.
Yeah.
Wow, they still have a basketball team. That's cool.
They do. And actually, Damian Lillard is actually one of the better players in the NBA. So they got one good player, and then the rest of the team not so much. So
I don't know who that is.
yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
never heard of him.
I have not
NBA
watched
people
basketball in years. Does
But,
Clyde Drexler still play?
No. Clyde Drexler can only be played on your NBA Jam, like 93 or whatever.
I think he's on the like a hidden character in the Wii version. But even
nice.
even that's outdated by years.
It's
Yeah,
true.
I actually found it the other day.
Yeah, I still have my copy. It's so fun to play. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Clyde Drexler
It's true.
and the Portland Trailblazers. We're here to talk about.
He's heating up.
Yeah. We're here to talk about pro wrestling. Let's see what's on the agenda tonight. We are going to talk Cruiserweight Classic that came to a close. Surprise finalist, I guess, surprise champion in my eyes. We'll get into that. Some stuff on Page, some stuff heading up Harmon and I's trip to Limitless Wrestling. And then we're going to spend probably a bulk of this podcast talking about CM Punk. Made his UFC debut. Oh, boy. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to do some just some highlights for the week, some Backlash, some Raw SmackDown stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be a slobber knocker of a show, gents. I hope you guys are both up for it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Perfect. Dave's up, Harmon's down. Nice. Oh, man. All right, guys. Before we get into it, let's hit some plugs up real quick. You guys can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Just type in, go to the old search bar there and type in ISR2M podcast. You're going to get us. You can also just go to smartandmark.com, get us right from the source. And while you're there, check out some of our colleagues. Check out some of their columns. Check out some music mashups, some hidden gems. It's a real fun place to go if you are a wrestling fan. And if you guys like wrestling stuff, wrestling, figures and DVDs and autographs and stuff, you guys should definitely check out That Wrestling Club. I just got my That Wrestling Club today for September. Harmon, you did as well. And oh boy, it was a doozy. It was
awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. In my opinion, it's the best monthly crate service out there at the moment, and I've pretty much dropped a lot of other crate services because this one's just so good. It's everything you need. High level autographs, just WWE licensed merch. No imitations, nothing like that. So go to thatwrestlingclub.com if you guys want to sign up. Get in early because they only have limited subscriptions. Next month is going to be a Halloween theme for October. So endless possibilities there. Undertaker, Bray Wyatt, all that stuff. Halloween.
Papa Shango.
Yes, exactly. You say Shango? I say Shango.
I say Shango.
Oh, okay.
Dave, you're a Shango guy. Dave, how do you say? Dave, how do you say scallops?
Scallops?
You say scallops? God,
I do.
What is wrong?
Get the hell out of here.
What is wrong with you? Did you always say stuff like that, or is it just the Seattle changing you?
No, I've always said scallops.
So weird.
Maybe I'm that. I don't know. Maybe I'm that guy.
Oh, awful! You are.
I say food. I also say food with an extra O, so it's like it kind of like food.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Food with an extra O.
How do you say food with an extra O?
It's like food. It's just kind of like it's pronounced a little longer when I say it. Food.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
It's weird. I've been called out on it before. I don't even know like how it even comes to be.
I can't hear you.
You're killing Harmon right now with the food. That's so bizarre.
And to me, it sounds normal, but it's like it's food. It's I don't know.
Oh man.
Oh, this podcast is off to a great start.
I know we're getting right off the rails.
Oh, way to go, Dave.
Sorry, I come in and just crush it. That's how I do.
Nice. Whew, man. One more plug. That's just our plug section. One more plug.
I'm wiping tears from my eyes right now. I was laughing so hard.
Oh man, one more plug. All right, if you guys want to pledge a little bit of money towards the show, you guys can. You guys can go to patreon.com/ISR2M. Give us a little bit of your money. We'll give you a little bit of our rewards. So $2, a mere $2. Enters you into our monthly giveaway where we're going to be, giving away some prizes. Some DVDs, some Funko Pop vinyls, whatever it is that month.
Whatever we happen to have laying around.
Yeah, whatever we have laying around. We got a lot of swag laying around, ladies and gentlemen. So
lots of swag.
Yeah, the pledges, they vary. You can go all the way up to $25 if you want, and you get a T-shirt. With some cool artwork by our good buddy John David Guerra on it. I don't know. There's all kinds of fun rewards. Go there. Patreon.com/ISR2M. Check out the rewards. And if you like what you see, please consider pledging a little bit of moolah our way.
This kind of quality, people, has cost us a lot of money.
We'd like
to pass it on to you for just a little bit of money.
Yeah, exactly. So... all right, so that's all our plugs. Let's get into some recent news. First things first, Paige, she is going to stay with the WWE. I know there were some rumors last week about how she's going to leave because Del Rio's gone and whatnot, but she's made it official. An official, statement said she's staying. So what do you guys think about that? Harmon?
I read her statement, and it's completely contradicts every rumor for the past month.
Right.
She never was going to leave. She never had any plans to leave. She didn't hire a legal team. I found it
where's Meltzer getting this stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I don't think he's just making stuff up because that's not. I don't think that's how Meltzer goes, but he might.
Yeah, maybe.
I was more interested in the failed wellness policy. She mentioned that she missed her appointment, and that's not the first time we've heard that. That Eva Marie says hers was due to a scheduling conflict or paperwork or something like that. And you would think they would be a little more lenient on that. Only having a positive test result, bite you in the ass.
Right.
Instead of clerical error.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you'd think so.
30 days, suspension for 30 days is 30 days with no paycheck. You're not on TV. You're not on the road. You're just out.
Yeah, I know.
Because you weren't able to get to the facility on that day. I mean, Paige is from England. What if she was on a plane coming back from England or something and just couldn't make it?
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like, they have like no lenience on it. I don't know. It's really strange. And 30 days is a long time, man, to be out. So I don't know. Dave,
especially when you hadn't been on TV for the previous 60 days.
Right, exactly. So, Dave, what are your thoughts on Paige, just in general, and then coming back and the whole weird Del Rio situation?
Well, I can tell you this, like, as far as the statement goes, as a guy who's been in the media for, like closing in on like 8 years now, 9 years, however hell long it's been, it's really easy to bullshit through a statement. So, I mean, like, she could be saying like, "Oh, I never had plans to leave," but could be completely full of it. As far as my feelings on Paige, it's feelings of indifferent. I honestly haven't, ever since she debuted, I feel like her career has just been steadily declining to the point now where it's almost like she's been, to me, I feel like she's been overshot by all the new, the women's revolution, wrestlers like Charlotte, like Becky Lynch, Bailey, all those gals, to the point now where really Paige is only useful on Total Divas, and that's about it. And if she had left the company, then great. By staying in the company, she'll be a contender, but she's not. I think the momentum that she had when she came into the company is pretty much gone. She can still sell some T-shirts. She has her fan base, and she'll go out there and yell, "This is my house" 18 times during a match. But
right.
I've never been a huge Paige fan. I can at least give her credit that she was smart enough at 22 or 23, or however old she is, being one of the younger wrestlers on the roster, that she was like, it's probably a good idea that I stay and make the most amount of money that I'll ever make in wrestling, staying with the company. So at least she wasn't so man crazy over Del Rio that she decided to leave the company or anything like that. As far as the wellness policy goes, we could do an entire episode on the wellness policy. It's totally friggin' dumb. It's, and yeah, the punishment is harsh, and yet there's still probably some guys on the roster who are they're just using different substances and probably should be caught and should be suspended, and they're not. It's a thing that they use or hide behind to look like they're strict because of the whole Benoit deal, because in this day and age, especially leagues like the NFL and Major League Baseball have really been cracking down, so they feel this need to be like that, even though it's an entertainment company. It's so screwed up. We could probably do a week of episodes on the wellness policy.
Yeah.
And it really wouldn't. We still couldn't come to a conclusive answer on it. But good for her for staying. And again, she's gonna be lost in the shuffle, really. But she'll at least collect a decent paycheck after she's back from her suspension, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I thought that she'd be a nice fit for someplace else, like a TNA. We talked about a little bit about that last week. Or just, I don't know, any other, basically any other promotion outside of WWE. I think she'd fit in nicely, just kind of on the indies, just because she can kind of do her own thing. She seems very immature. I don't mind Paige. I'm not crazy about her. I know she's very popular with people, but I don't know. She doesn't really do it for me that much. So I guess I really didn't care if she stayed or go. I kind of agree with you, Dave, that I think she's going to get lost in the shuffle with how much people, how much better people have gotten since she's been away. The arrival of Alexa Bliss, and I mean, it's just I don't know, just all these all these women are just really good. So we'll see.
There was some more women's news this week. They said Emma was backstage at Raw this week. So
oh, nice, yeah,
she's pretty close to coming back. I'm pretty pumped about that because she's gorgeous. She's athletic. She's got the attitude now with the big glasses and the shoulder pads and the gloves.
Sure.
I mean, she was probably all set up for a nice little push before she got hurt. So
yeah,
hopefully she can come in and breathe some new life into the Raw women's division, because right now they've only got 4 girls on that right now.
Yeah.
And then Nia Jax killing people.
Is anybody else noticing? I when I see Emma coming out for her entrance with the black gloves and the aviators there, all I'm thinking about is like early 1990s George Michael. Is anybody else picking up that vibe, or am I?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. Like,
yeah, I think that's what she's going
early
for.
1990s George Michael's videos got me through a tough time in my adolescence. All right, so
like straight out of the Freedom video. That's
so weird. Yeah.
So weird. He has so many supermodels in his videos.
That's right.
I know that didn't add up at all. So real quick, let's see. Well, not real quick. We can spend some time on it. Cruiserweight Classic came to a close, and we have a winner of the Cruiserweight Classic, and we have a new Cruiserweight champion, which I didn't realize that was part of it. And I don't think anybody did until Triple H kind of made the announcement right before. So that was pretty shocking. I thought that they were going to kind of do it separately, but that man is TJ Perkins.
Oh, that's a hideous belt, by the way. That belt is gross.
Oh, you don't like it? Huh. I don't mind it.
No, it has no definition to it. It's purple with a silver front. There's no contrast to it. It's like the tag team titles where it's just one monochrome.
Yeah, it is a little hard to kind of make out. I mean, it's got it's got the world on it, and it has a small WWE emblem, but yeah, it does. I mean, it does kind of mesh in together, but I don't know. I don't think it's hideous. I think it's okay. But
no,
dude,
garbage. Garbage.
It's garbage. But yeah, man, I was shocked to see TJ Perkins take this. I like TJ a lot, and I think that he's well deserving of it. But I thought that they were going to go with Ibushi, just because I figured he was staying. But man, I like TJ Perkins a lot. He's so slick. He's good looking dude. I think he's very marketable. And he's just amazing in the ring. He's really, really good. He can kind of do it all on the mat, high flying. He's a little cocky, which I think is good. He can, I think, transition well from a face to a heel, back and forth. Because he's kind of cocky and he has that attitude. So, Dave, what do you think about? I know you said before we went on the air that you haven't really watched too much of the Cruiserweight Classic, but have you seen any TJ Perkins? What's your deal with TJ? What do you like about him?
Yeah, no, I like TJ Perkins, and you pretty much nailed it on the head. He's got a little bit of that cocky attitude. He can flip flop back and forth between face and heel pretty nice, and should be a decent addition. Here's this leads me into my mini rant though about the cruiserweights, and this is probably why I didn't immediately, embrace the cruiserweight challenge, is because the WWE has such a history of shitting all over the cruiserweight division. You know what I mean? Back when it was the light heavyweight title, there were some really good competitors. They had Taka Michinoku. They had, I always joke on this podcast about S.A. Rios, but when S.A. Rios was, Mr. Aguilar, and when he was S.A. Rios, he was one of the better, cruiserweights around. He was excellent. And they had guys over the years, Jerry Lynn hold the belt when they merged with WCW. Billy Kidman came over, and then they totally just crapped out the belt. They phased it out. You know what I mean? WWE has such a history of hating on cruiserweights that, as great as this idea sounded when it came along, I'm just well, this is going to be great. It's going to be an awesome showcase of some of the best talent of the world. And thankfully, from everything that it sounds like, that, that came true. But where does it go from here? And are you going to embrace cruiserweights the way that WCW did in the 1990s? Because frankly, that's one of the things that made WCW great and a competitor with WWE, was that their lower to mid card, which was full of cruiserweights, were some of the best in the world, and people tuned in to watch that, flipping back and forth between Raw and Nitro. Those were some excellent matches, and that raised the stakes on guys like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero and Dean Mulaney, like guys like that.
Well, back then you had the whole first hour they ran pretty much cruiserweights because Raw wasn't even on until 9 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Precisely.
And those guys could go forever too. Those guys could have like 20-minute matches, without any effort, and it was awesome. But Dave, I will say this, and I'll let you get back to finishing your rant. Do you think that because when WWF or WWE at the time did their light heavyweight division, do you think it's because, their lightweight division, do you think it's because they didn't have the kind of talent? I mean, I know you mentioned S.A. Rios, but it's like you take S.A. Rios and Taka Michinoku and you compare them to, Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio. I mean, it's like, I don't know if the talent was quite there.
No, it wasn't. It's not even close. The whole reason why the WWE did the light heavyweight division to begin with was to combat WCW's cruiserweight division, and they realized quickly that they couldn't do it. They didn't have the talent. They basically had like 4 guys. They had Michinoku, S.A. Rios, and we're talking like late 90s before more cruiserweights came in. But they had S.A. Rios, Saga Michinoku, Brian Christopher, aka Grandmaster Sexy, and Christian, and that was it.
That's right. Yeah,
guys. They had 4 or 5 guys, and it was a really weak attempt at it. And I understand why they got rid of the light heavyweight title. I do, because they just didn't have the talent that they did. But at the same time, I mean, it's a long going. Everyone knows Vince McMahon's, love of big guys and hatred of small guys. It's gone on forever, and I'm loving that. I'm guessing this is a Triple H idea, like the Cruiserweight Classic, or at least is among his people. Because I don't think Vince would ever think of this, or even remotely want this, or...
I bet he doesn't know who half the guys in the Cruiserweight Classic are at all.
Oh, God, no.
Right now.
God, no. So, I mean, if this is...
I'm not going to shit on him too much for that, because I don't know who half the guys in the Cruiserweight Classic are.
Yeah, but you know now.
I know some of them.
Really?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't have that kind of time.
But I mean, I guess my hope is that going forward, if this is something that branches out into something awesome, I am all for it. But if they're gonna treat it like they've treated their cruiserweights previously, then this is it's gonna be such a disappointment. And I really hope that's not the case. I hope that this is gonna be something even if we did this with if it was an affiliation with NXT and they were running this on the NXT show all the time, fine, great, that'd be awesome. But just find a way to keep it going, build off of it, build something really awesome that nobody else can really even remotely compete with. That would be great. That'd be awesome, because there is a place for cruiserweight wrestling in the WWE, and they should have a division of their own and have these awesome matches.
I totally agree. Harmon, any thoughts on TJ Perkins? You've seen him wrestle a bunch in the Cruiserweight Classic and just in other organizations and stuff. What's your thoughts on TJ?
Yeah, I think he's a best of both worlds for a small guy. He's 160 pounds maybe.
Yeah.
But he does great mat wrestling, great submissions. He can do all the top rope stuff that everybody else can do. His kicks are, just as good as the Japanese guys. And he's got charisma. He can talk, and he can go babyface or he can go heel. So he's pretty much the whole package. He's still, he's been in the industry for 18 years, they said, but he's still, 34? Early 30s.
Is he even? I didn't even think he was that old. Is he? I
he's not. Maybe I thought he was maybe right around 30, but
yeah, that old. That's our age. I'm I don't think he's that old. Jeez.
Yeah. You can't hear me creaking over here. But yeah, he's probably the best mix of everybody that they had there in the CWC. I mean,
are you surprised that they went with him? Or
I'm not, because I had already heard that he had signed, Graham Metalik had signed, and Kota Ibushi not signed, and Zack Sabre Jr. had not signed. So I didn't think they were going to give it. I didn't think they were going to give it to somebody who didn't sign on for the long haul. So.
Right, and especially with them like incorporating them as like the champ too. I mean, obviously that doesn't make sense, but I knew Zack Sabre was definitely out because he said he didn't want to sign because he wants to do indie stuff. But I didn't know about Kota. I really thought Kota was going to sign just because he'd been doing some other NXT matches and stuff. So I thought he would sign, and I thought that he would win.
He doesn't want to commit to it.
Yeah,
he wants to still travel and do what he wants. So
yeah, that makes sense. So cool. Let's see. One more thing before we dive into some CM Punk stuff. Harmon, our tickets came in for Limitless Wrestling, and I'm really excited about it.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, man. They came in. They look beautiful, and so this on the 24th.
I saw your picture on Twitter. They are sharp-looking tickets.
Yeah, they are. They did a great job printing those damn tickets. So yeah, they came in the
old album.
I'm very excited.
They're gonna look good with Mike Bennett's signature on them in the
album. Nice. That's true. That's true. Yeah, the Miracle Mike Bennett's gonna be there. Limitless Wrestling 24th up in what's it called? The let's see, the Legion Hall, I think, or something. It's let's see. Yeah, the American Legion Post up in Orono, Maine. On 24th. So we got Ace Ramiro versus AR Fox. Chucky T is going to be there. Chuck Taylor. Lince Dorado from the Cruiserweight Classic. Speaking of the Cruiserweights, Lince Dorado is going to be there. That'll be pretty awesome. He's great. Veda Scott from Ring of Honor is going to be there. It's going to be an awesome. Can't whistle? Were you going to whistle?
I was going to whistle.
Veda?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's adorable.
That's not inappropriate at all nowadays, right?
She reminds me of like what Bailey would be like if Bailey was an ECW. You know? Like she's just hardcore but like goofy and funny. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun to meet her and see her and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a good show. So just if you guys want to check out Limitless Wrestling, limitlesswrestling.com, go there, get your tickets. They're cheap, $10, and then drive to Orono. See Harmon and I.
$10. Yeah.
$10.
Same price as my autograph.
Harmon's really pushing those autographs. Oh, it's great.
The great thing about wrestling in an American Legion Hall is there's always the possibility that if somebody does a top rope move, they crack their head off the ceiling because they usually like low to the ground. So that's also something to watch out for.
They've got videos on YouTube from this place before, I think, and there's like a bar on one side, and they've like had people like clear off the bar and like get smashed onto it.
Yeah, the ring is really low too. The ring's low.
Yeah, the ring's only like a foot off the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It probably needs to be. So in order to get moves off.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. Looking forward to it. So tickets are in. We're on our way, buddy. Oh man. All right, guys. Let's get into some CM Punk. I've had a lot of thoughts on this. And
Johnny, why don't you tell us about CM Punk, because you have been chomping at the bit all week to talk about.
Yeah, we're giving you the tee off point.
All right.
You open this up and we'll tell you you're wrong later on.
Please do. I welcome it all. Here's the deal with CM Punk. So CM Punk, first of all, the news. CM Punk made his UFC debut. I use the word fight very loosely because he didn't really fight. He didn't really put up much of a fight at all. He basically got mopped in like a minute and a half. To Mickey Gall. It was a pretty poor excuse of a display, and I don't think anybody was surprised, which makes me really sad. Not sad for CM Punk, because I'm not like the biggest Punk fan, and not sad for UFC, because as the years go on, I'm not like the biggest UFC fan. I just am sad about what it's kind of become, because MMA, I think, is a really great thing. I think it's a really pure sport, and it takes a lot of time to master different, martial arts and compete competitively. at a high level. And when UFC is the example of the major leagues of MMA, and they put on bullshit gimmick matches like this, that's what this was. It was a gimmick match. It didn't make any sense for CM Punk to fight in the UFC. He should have never been like granted, permission or like a license to fight in the UFC. It's extremely dangerous for a 37-year-old guy to get in the ring with an actual trained fighter. And CM Punk has not had, I mean, sure, he's been training for 2 years, but he doesn't have any actual fighting experience. It was just bad on all levels, and it left such a sour taste in my mouth. Because I do like MMA. I don't like UFC, but I like MMA a lot. And I'll tell you, man, UFC, as much as they want to shit on WWE, and you get all these knuckleheads that are like, oh, fuck yeah, UFC, WWE's that fake shit, UFC's for real. I'll tell you guys this right now. UFC is WWE. It is pro wrestling at its finest. Like, that's what it is trying to be. Even if you look at like the payouts. If you look at the payouts of the CM Punk match, that guy made $500,000 in this match. And the guy that beat the shit out of him for a minute and a half made 30 grand. So it's not about winning and losing. It's about putting on a match. It's about who's going to draw.
It's about,
and that's it.
It's about selling pay-per-view buys, and it's about drawing people in.
That's all it is. It's a business. It's pro wrestling.
I am ready to agree with you.
This
is the kind of crap that they would have pulled in the early 90s, back when, Tank Abbott was fighting, and what was his name? Paul Varlins, and those guys. Jesus. back in the early days, with Dan the Beast Severn and Ken Shamrock. But
right.
Back then, there might have been a handful of guys that could even hang with guys nowadays. Just the level of training, the level of expertise that these guys have nowadays, and just the amount of training they put into it. I mean, back in the early 90s, it was a spectacle. It was a tough man competition. There was no gloves. You could kick a downed opponent. You could punch him in the nads. That's, excuse me.
Excuse you.
That's when we're just trying to get people to watch, and then it evolved into a legitimate sport. I think they're feeling the heat from, on-demand television, Netflix, stuff like that. People aren't itching to get the pay-per-views like they used to, so they're trying something different to get people to come in, and it's looking more and more like the WWE. It's looking more like pro wrestling. They're bringing in names like, a wrestler, Brock Lesnar. They're bringing in a wrestler, CM Punk. One of their most exciting fighters, Conor McGregor, is a mouthpiece, and it would be perfect in wrestling. Just they're bringing in characters, not fighters.
Yeah, exactly, man. They're building characters. That's all they're doing. They're creating characters. Conor McGregor, the Diaz brothers, like these are all characters. These guys are the heels. The George St. Pierre's of MMA are the faces. Like, it's all heels versus faces. It's all to sell fights. It's no longer, like, their ranking systems are insane. Like, their whole the rankings are nuts. Like, they don't, like, abide by any of that. Like, it's not, oh, you're the number one contender because you've won a string of fights. It's, oh, because you talk some shit at a press conference to this guy, and now it's a grudge match, and now you guys are going to fight.
And that's the problem with the UFC being their own governing body. They're not beholden to a committee, or kind of like how boxing was. There wasn't the boxing regulation and stuff like that. There was different magazines that ran the titles,
right?
And that was a mess too. But it's just that they're the ones saying who's going to fight who and what will what. If there was just an MMA title, that, I don't know. It's just weird how it's one company. It's I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, and these fighters are being told to sell the fight. Like, they're being told to talk trash. Like, I can't remember, one of the Diaz brothers. It must have been Nate, because Nick is kind of, Nick's not around much anymore. He had that ban for 5 years, but that got reversed. But he was one of the Diaz brothers. Like after a fight, that they obviously talked like heavy shit to the other guy. Like right after the fight, they're still in the ring. Rogan asks them about it, and they fully admit like, oh, that's just to sell the fight. Like we don't really hate each other. Like we respect each other, but we're told to hype the fight. So it's like they're breaking kayfabe right there, and it's like
even the last fight, where they did the bottle throwing and the Diaz brothers crashed Connor's press conference,
right.
And Connor was throwing bottles. The next day, Connor was just like, yeah, that guy's really a great fighter, and his tune was completely different than it was 24 hours before that.
Yeah, like that's pro wrestling, man. Like that fucking throwing the bottle thing, like that whole press conference, that's pro wrestling. That's not MMA. Like all these guys are, oh, that shit's fake. It's like you're watching the same thing. You're making fun of us for watching pro wrestling, and it's a male soap opera, but you're watching the exact same thing. So it's just
that's Sami Zayn dropping Kevin Owens on his head on a ladder, and then later on that night they're sharing a hotel room, watching Robot Chicken,
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing as McGregor and Diaz punching each other, or throwing bottles at each other, and then fighting, and then like after the fight going, yeah, I don't know, I think he's a great fighter. Yeah, we'll be all right. They hug it out. It's like it's pointless, man. Anyway, Dave, what's you've been quiet. What's your thoughts on Punk, in the UFC?
So I've had days to think about this, and it's so tough because I look at it from two perspectives. One, it's hard to blame CM Punk for taking this opportunity. I mean, I guess if he really is the MMA fan that he says he is, and he really was willing to commit himself to doing this, to have an actual opportunity to live a so-called dream of his, which is hard for me to kind of believe, because I've read up on Punk. I've seen interviews of Punk since he first entered the indie scene, and he was 100% pro wrestling right up until he left the WWE. So, maybe he does love MMA. Maybe he did secretly want to be an MMA fighter, and if that's the case, then good for him. He lived his dream. He got a big payout for it. Don't ever do it again. Don't ever do it again. And for him to say that he's going to fight again not only hurts the UFC, it hurts his own brand. Punk has it, whether he wants to admit it or not, he has his own brand. He has his own fan base. He sells to a certain type of person, and he's really only hurting himself by going in there and getting his ass kicked. You could be all preachy about it afterwards, like, I'm doing this for the kid who doesn't think he can do this. I was like, well, that's great. One time.
I have big problems with that too. So keep going, but I'm gonna chime in on that after.
That's great. But if you what's it gonna help the second time you go in there and get the shit knocked out of you? Nothing. It's not gonna do anything for that kid. That kid's just gonna think you're a loser. That's all that's gonna come from that. Secondly, to go off what you guys were saying about UFC, I think Dana White has easily become the Vince McMahon of the UFC, and by that I mean I don't think that company is going to get better until he's gone. And he, his ideas and what he thinks goes, and his bullish attitude toward the media, toward first and foremost, Ariel Hawani, who is easily the best MMA journalist out there, banning him from ringside of the octagon, a few months back, and then thankfully MMA fans were like, go fuck yourself, he needs to be back on there and ringside, and then him pulling back on that just a few days later, because at the end of the day, he's just a bully and really is just, a pansy at the end of the day. I am not a fan of Dana White. I don't like Dana White. I think he hurts UFC. I don't think he does. I don't think any of his ideas are good. I think, if anything, he's only hurt the sport with these goofy ideas for matches and not allowing good matches to happen again. And
Yeah.
he's hurting the company. And I don't think at some point in time, MMA fans are smart enough to realize that, you know what, this is bullshit, and this is just sports entertainment, and this is looking a lot more like WWE. It's looking more like the shit that we shit on all the time, like the stuff that we shit on all the time. Like, that's our sport now. And Dana White has openly admitted that he not only respects Vince McMahon, but he admires Vince McMahon. They've had talks. They've actually had like business talks before. So this isn't. It doesn't shock me that Dana White's become the new Vince McMahon, because that's precisely, I think, where he was planning on going all along. And it's just coming to fruition. And people are still willing to pay money to see this. Like, people paid however much it cost to see CM Punk get his ass kicked. And,
Oh yeah, they like doubled their draw. Like, that's,
Right.
I mean,
right.
makes sense. It is a draw, man. I'm not shaming them for that, but you got to admit like what you are. You can't say that. You can't say, oh, we're gonna be the biggest sport in America. We're gonna be bigger than the NFL. And WWE is a bunch of pussies and fuck WWE. It's like, you're the same thing now. You are the same thing. You make heels and faces. You make characters. You make storylines. That's what you do. Except when they get into the cage, like, you're really punching people in the face. But that's the only difference. Everything else is built around the same exact logic.
They're above boxing, and they'll never ever reach the NFL point. I'm sorry, but like it will
no
never
way.
ever. They won't even touch like the NBA or the friggin' or Major League Baseball. Like, they might be able to be around, like, I don't even know about the NHL. Like, honestly, like, they'll always be
No.
like,
I don't think they can touch any of that.
Like,
no.
They'll be better than boxing but it's not that hard to be better than boxing, because boxing is a dying sport anyway.
Yeah.
So they have their niche. They should stick to it, and they should really start looking at pleasing their own fan base with good fights, like good matchups, good fights, good with contenders, like with people who actually earn their spots and who get there the right way, other than these stupid ass gimmick matches, like you were saying, like Punk and Gall. Like you know what I get out of this for Mickey Gall? Nothing at all. Congratulations, you beat a novice. How do you like go up the rankings at all after that?
Dude, he proved to be like a huge tool too. Like afterwards, like after the match, he's like yelling, just dropping F-bombs, like trying to be one of the Diaz brothers. Like, he just, I got such a bad vibe about that kid. And he didn't like overly impress me. I mean, I get it. He's a jiu-jitsu brown belt. Like, he's obviously a trained fighter. But I don't think he is like that good. I mean, I think he gets eaten alive. You throw him in there with the Sharks with like a really, in the depth of, of the welterweight division. So I will say this about this match in particular is that they've done a lot of gimmick matches. Every couple of years, they kind of throw out like a gimmick match, whether it's, Kimbo Slice or James Toney, or remember when James Toney took on Randy Couture? It was just so silly. But at least, I'll say this, at least about Toney is that he had...
That wasn't in UFC, though, was it? That wasn't that in Bellator or something?
No, that was in UFC.
Was it?
Yeah, Randy Couture and James Toney, yeah. Kimbo Slice started out in Bellator, I think, or some other company, but then he came to UFC and, was on like The Ultimate Fighter. Even The Ultimate Fighter is kind of a gimmicky thing. I mean, it's tough enough. That's the exact same premise.
During CM Punk's whole thing, I thought, why didn't they put him on The Ultimate Fighter so people could, they would have ratings for that entire show, and then people would get the buys for the pay-per-view. Well, after the fight, I realized why they didn't put him on Ultimate Fighter, because he would have been exposed as a complete fraud.
Yeah.
Immediately after watching just a couple of the training sessions, a couple of the sparring sessions, they would have been like, nope, forget it. This guy is going to get killed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the evolution of Punk, like the documentary thing that they had on Spike, I think, was like, that's all it did was expose him. I saw him training and I was like, whoa, he looks really bad. Like, what's he been doing for 2 years? Like, having back surgery, and like that's about it. Like he did not look good at all.
I think
he looked like us rolling around in this St. Joe's,
right. I think
ballet studio.
I think any one of us would have put up a better fight than CM Punk. Like I did nothing.
I just want to know, like, I think the real question of all of this at the end of the day is, what is Punk's end game with this? Like where's this gonna go from here? Like, okay, so you have your couple fights with UFC. You do what your contract.
I know the answer to this. I know the answer to this right now.
What is that?
$500,000.
That's true.
Well, I mean, is
$500,000 for the past 2 years? He's gotten the health insurance from the UFC to fix all of his WWE ailments, and he got paid $500,000 for 2 minutes and 40 fucking seconds.
Yeah, it was really quick.
But I mean, is like at the end of the day, is he doing this to like gain some respect and then maybe be like an MMA and like be like a Joe Rogan, be like an MMA announcer?
He's too big of a dick to be an announcer.
Is he doing this to go back like have one more run in wrestling, like maybe with WWE, but maybe with somebody else to what's the end game for Punk? That's I guess that's what it's come down to. Does he just not care? Like I don't get where he's going with this. And
yeah, because he doesn't have to do this. I mean, he doesn't have to go in there and get the shit kicked out of him. He's got more money than any of us will ever see. He can just ride off into the sunset. Him and AJ can just hang out all day. Or he could just go train and have it be fun. He doesn't need to actually compete. I think that's so silly that he's actually competing at the highest level in UFC. It's like taking, I don't know, it's just so silly. And getting back to like his Dave, you mentioned like his after speech and how it was all believe in your dreams and all the kids that, if a teacher tells you can't do something, like prove them wrong, like you can achieve anything. It's like, fuck off, CM Punk. You did not earn this fight at all. You didn't earn anything, and he didn't prove anything. Like he got handed a UFC contract just because of who he was, not because he was a good fighter. It was just notoriety. It was fame that like paved his way into UFC. He didn't fight like a tune-up fight. He didn't have a fight in another organization like Brock Lesnar did. And then they were like, "Oh shit, Brock Lesnar actually has some legit skills."
They used him as a circus attraction and paid him handsomely for it.
Yeah, and so like I thought it was just so like just trite that he like that whole fucking speech after was ridiculous, and I didn't like his whole approach towards the fight. Like the whole thing where he was like, "Oh, I win just by stepping into the octagon." It's like, well, how do you win? Like, you've got handed a fight for who you are. That's not, and that was the easy way out by saying, because he knew he was going to lose. That's the easy way out. That's what a loser says. Oh, it doesn't matter if I win or lose.
And if you're and as a fighter, like you've already lost by having that thought process,
right?
Like, immediately.
Exactly. So I hated his approach. I hated his end game. I hated his after match speech. I hated everything about CM Punk in the UFC. If he really wanted to respect MMA and love MMA like he says he does, he would have done it the right way. He would have trained for like.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the right mentality to be a fighter anyway.
No,
I mean,
he's not a fighter.
I mean, you think about
not.
Oh. Guys who are in combat sports think they are the baddest motherfucker on the planet, every day. Conor McGregor thinks that he could climb Brock Lesnar like a tree and chop him the fuck down. Daniel Bryan in wrestling, and he does jiu-jitsu. He believes that he could go out there and twist you into a knot right now, CM Punk never exhibited that killer instinct that nobody is going to beat me attitude, and you have to have that as a fighter. Otherwise you're just a a stepping stone for somebody else. You're a sideshow. You're curtain jerker. It
makes sense that you brought Daniel Bryan, because like that would kind of make sense. I mean, Daniel Bryan has legit like jiu-jitsu training. CM Punk doesn't. He never even exhibited that in his wrestling. Like he didn't have like a ton of like submission holds. He has like the Anaconda Vice, but like That was probably one of few that he had in pro wrestling. It just, I don't know. It just never fit. They always talked about, oh, he's got a Muay Thai background, and his kicks are terrible.
I can think of at least like 3 or 4 other guys on the WWE roster right now, off the top of my head, who would be a better UFC fighter than CM Punk. Dolph Ziggler would be like
Rusev, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I mean, he's the Kent
Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anybody with a
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Swagger, man. Swagger, legit NCAA wrestler. Legit. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Chad
like,
Gable, Jason Jordan, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there's tons of guys that are better fitted for that, but CM Punk is the guy. I mean, he's just the notoriety. That's what it is. It's fame. I don't know, man. I don't think he fights in UFC ever again. Dana White already said his next fight shouldn't be in the UFC. If he really wants to continue MMA, I think he goes somewhere else. I'm sure Bellator would take him.
Bellator will take anybody. Well,
yeah.
If you're breathing, Bellator will take you.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see what he's gonna do moving forward. It's definitely a spectacle.
Remember when I think it was a Bellator or Pride? No, it wasn't Pride. But they were supposed to be Kimbo Slice versus Ken Shamrock, and Ken Shamrock got hurt like the day of the fight, and they called up Seth Petrozelli, who had been on Tough Enough, but he was like the oldest guy on Tough Enough that year, and he comes in that day and knocked out Kimbo Slice, in like 35 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like a legit fighter, so.
Yeah, and he was like, they told me, not to take him to the ground.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a spectacle. And people were like, oh, my God, Kimbo Slice got knocked out. It was like, because this guy's not a fighter. He's a street fighter. He's not a mixed martial artist. If it was 1992, Kimbo Slice would have been a big fucking deal. But
right. Yeah. So R.I.P. Kimbo Slice. Oh, boy.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. That's basically all I got for Punk and UFC. I wasn't impressed by any of it. I haven't been impressed for 2 years. I didn't even think he would fight, to be honest with you. I think I said it like he's never gonna fight. And one more thing that I do have on it. Sorry. Is immediately following the fight, Twitter is blowing up from the wrestling community. Pro wrestlers are sitting there saying like, mad respect for CM Punk. Like all these guys are just like Mick Foley was like, oh, such respect to CM Punk for stepping in there. Like, I don't get why these guys think that it was such a big deal and such like something to overcome by CM Punk. The guy got paid $500,000 to do it. Any one of us would have done it. Like, put up a better fight. And I don't know, like all CM Punk did for the last 2 years is shit on pro wrestling. So why are you sticking up for this guy? I know that he's.
I can say this right now. If this was some sort of, and I don't necessarily think it was, but if this was some attempt at gaining some leverage to coming back to WWE, to gain some notoriety, to come back to WWE and hold some power in negotiations with Vince and crew to come back to WWE, he epically failed.
Oh, of course. Because all it does is hurt him. You said it exactly right earlier. It hurts his brand. And now it's like WWE doesn't need CM Punk. I mean, would it be cool and would it be like a big draw? Sure, initially. But WWE has so much going on right now. They don't need CM Punk at all. They've got a ton of talent. You're trying to tell me that
they got more guys than they can push right now as it is.
Right, you're trying to tell me that they need CM Punk when they have Shinsuke Nakamura like waiting in the wings for ultra stardom? Like, come on, you don't need a 37-year-old CM Punk who's way past his prime, like who just got annihilated in a minute and a half in UFC to come back and do what? To do what?
The only thing that Punk could, like, if Punk came back to WWE, the only thing he could probably do was, like, they have Samoa Joe signed, like, have a series and basically do like their matches from, like the early 2000s where they were being the champions. They're both past their prime, so it really wouldn't be as good of a match as it was when they were ruling the indies back
Samoa
in the day.
Joe is not past his prime. That guy is fantastic right now.
Yeah. Oh man. We do have one write-in from Twitter on this topic. It's from our buddy Shane the Jobber. Follow at Shane the Jobber on Twitter. He's a good follow. He's very interactive with us. He loves our stuff. Post to us all the time. So his whole thing on CM Punk in the UFC, I'll read it. It's real quick. CM Punk did not make what I would call the smartest choice, but I can't fault him for pursuing his dream and being active in something that he really cares about. If anything, I think he should have maybe done a few amateur fights before jumping straight into the big leagues with someone who definitely isn't a pushover. And that's kind of like what we're saying. If he respected the sport enough, sure, I would say definitely take some amateur fights. Man, I can't even imagine the guy's ever done like a grappling tournament, just straight grappling. I bet he hasn't. I bet he's never done Naga. I bet he's never done, anything like that. I bet he went in there cold.
You have? Didn't you do, what, one or two of them?
Yeah, I've done grappling tournaments. Yeah, like, I bet CM Punk has not. So it just,
When you can actually say that you have more fighting experience than CM Punk does, and he fought in the UFC, that's just
I know, it's sad.
It's something you shake your head at, you know what I mean?
I know.
It's just crazy.
But I mean, I get it. The guy got paid $500,000. I mean, sure.
Another comment from Twitter, Amanda at This Lazy Panda.
Oh, Amanda, our good buddy Amanda.
She agrees with Dave and the rest of us that, yeah, he didn't get any leverage.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, if he wanted to get back into wrestling, the best thing he could do was probably him and AJ just go to Ring of Honor, relive your glory days.
Right.
Bring Ring of Honor in some money. I'm sure they'll treat you like gold, and you get to do, TV a couple times a year and, work with other people. Do the Cody Rhodes type thing. Work with who you want to work with. Fulfill your dreams.
Yeah, and if you're that pissed at WWE, why wouldn't you directly try to hurt them?
Why wouldn't you go
with
to
another
wrestling
organization? So I don't know. Okay, guys, that's all I have for CM Punk. I promise this time. That's it. Do either of you guys have anything else on CM Punk or the UFC that you want to get out right now? Or are you guys good?
I think I'm good. I for some reason I do see something, and I'm not saying wrestling per se, but I do think someday CM Punk will, and I know he's a spiteful guy, but I've seen crazier shit happen, like Bret Hart coming back to WWE. I think someday CM Punk will do something with WWE again. I don't know.
You think so?
I do. It might not be wrestling, but it'll be something. Punk, as much as Punk wants to be like, I don't care about anything, and I could give a shit about this or that or whatever, the man loves pro wrestling. I don't give a shit what he says. Deep down, he's a pro wrestling lifer, and he'll do something, and I think he'll mend fences with WWE. He might not mend fences with Triple H, but you can go above Triple H and mend fences with Vince and be just as well. So that's been proven in the past, too. So, I think something will happen down the road.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. I'm going to go on the other side of things. I don't think he ever comes back. I think he's too spiteful. He just looks like a miserable person to me anytime he talks. And it bothers me that during Raw or a big pay-per-view, he's like constantly tweeting excessively about like the NHL. It's like, we get it, bro. You're not watching wrestling. We know. Like, you don't have to be that like tweeting about the NHL. Like, he's quiet all week until Monday or Sunday, and then he's like,
and let me throw
Blackhawks are playing. We got it.
And let me throw this out here too. Admitting that you're an asshole doesn't gain you any brownie points. You're still an asshole. Okay, I've always
right.
that. Oh, at least I admit that I'm an asshole. No, you're just still an asshole. Like, it's just
right.
You're just making it easier. So that's great. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh man. Oh, boy. All right, fellas. Moving on. We're going to touch on some weekly highlights before we get out of here. I will fully admit I have not seen much of Raw or SmackDown. So I've heard some things. I've seen some clips online, but I have not actually sat down to watch either of them. I will most likely do that tomorrow. I have the day off. The Quinster and I, Quinn Balor and I will sit down and we will watch Raw and SmackDown back to back. But let's talk a little Backlash because I'm pretty sure we've all seen Backlash. New champs all around. New champs. We've got new tag team champs in Rhino.
Heath Slater and Rhino.
Rhino and Heath Slater. And I'm a one-man band. God, I love Heath Slater. Jeez.
Good for Heath. Good for Heath, honestly. I mean, come on.
I know.
Like it's you. If you don't feel at least a little bit good for Heath Slater, then you just don't like yourself. I mean, it's just
you're doing this all wrong. If you don't like Heath Slater.
Exactly. Poor guy's been jerking the curtain for years, and he finally gets it. And if this is the highest he ever gets, then so be it. But I mean, it's just good for him, and Rhino too. I mean, this is such like a good spot for Rhino too. He's obviously on the back end of his career. And he's helping a younger guy out, and just just being in there and goring people. I mean, it's a good fun little tag team, and and who knows how long they probably only hold it for like a couple weeks or whatever. But it's fun, and it's nice to see that they're willing to give it to an underdog like that, like a guy who was buried for years, but he'll probably go back to being that way, but at least for 5 minutes, Heath Slater's career is relevant. It's great.
I love it. I love it so much. I think it's the best. It's been one of the highlights for SmackDown for a while now, his whole progression, his family, all that stuff. It's just really funny. Heath Slater is that guy that he does anything that they ask him to do, and he just does it well, whether it's jobbing to Fandango at house shows or, dressing up as Sting when Sting can't make it, or, just he'll do whatever you want. You fire everybody in 3MB and he's the lone guy and he's the mouthpiece and he remains. And then you do the social outcast thing and he's the mouthpiece and he's entertaining and he takes on any job and it's that he is, rewarded for it. So, Harmon, what are your thoughts on Heath Slater and Rhino?
Hilarious on Swerved.
Yes, he is so funny on Swerved. Yeah,
he's just a charismatic, versatile guy. And you see him in the ring, when he was in the ring with Brock Lesnar, it's he's pretty tall. He's pretty.
Yeah.
He's not as wide as Brock Lesnar, but nobody is. But I'm he's only an inch or two smaller than Brock Lesnar.
Right.
I mean, he's a big guy, so it makes him. Versatile, he's believable. Him and Rhino, Rhino's his, silent buddy over there. It's Jay and Silent Bob over there in the ring.
Right.
But I like it. I mean, I hope they hold on to it for a little while, at least until Breezango gets their shit together and wins it.
I think that's a great pick for the next champs. I would love to see those guys feud. I think the tag division on SmackDown is really exciting. It's probably my favorite division right now. There's just a lot of talent there, and I'm interested to see where they're going to go with it. But yeah, I love
the Usos now as a heel tag team. Oh, thank God!
It's been so much better.
Breathe some life into that tired old act.
Yeah, exactly.
Notes John Cena.
Right.
Can still be relevant and bad.
Really good as heels, man. I like that off the top rope kind of kick to the back of the leg. That's pretty brutal. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I like what the Usos are doing. I haven't said that in about 4 or 5 years.
I think did one of them was that submission move that looked like a tequila sunrise, which I haven't seen since Conan did back in freaking
Conan.
WCW.
Yeah.
Yes, the tequila sunrise. Yeah.
Oh my God! I wish they had called it that during the match too. It's that's a tequila sunrise.
I'm surprised Morrow didn't. He probably called it something else.
Yeah, just he actually pronounced it out like, and it's a grapevine into a, it's with it a hold on the arm. It's
and then a shining wizard.
Yeah.
There it is. There's the 11. Mauro Ranallo at a level 11 there. It's just all the time. He never calms the fuck down.
Between the Usos, who's gonna be the Shawn Michaels and who's gonna be the Jannetty? That's the real.
I can't tell them apart. Does it matter?
It's the hardest question there is.
That is a great question. That's going up on Twitter. That's amazing. I bet it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
We'll run a poll every Wednesday morning. Who was louder on SmackDown last night?
Yeah. Good stuff. New women's SmackDown champ in the form of Becky Lynch, the old last kicker.
Yes.
That six-pack challenge match was pretty good. I mean,
was really good. It had some it had some flops. There were some like really bad moments, like for instance, the head scissors like over the top rope with Naomi and Natalya. It was like really botched, and then they kind of just like did it anyway, like really slow motion. It's like, oh, we fucked it up. Just let's just try it again. Here we go. And it looked really bad. But Naomi, besides that one spot, put on a pretty good show. Like she was doing like springboards, and it was crazy, man. She really shined in that match. She was good.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss with her new ponytails. She looks super cute but mean at the same time. And then on Tuesday, action. She won the Fatal 5-Way or whatever it was to be the number one contender. So the first feud at, I don't know the name of the pay-per-view because there's one every 2 weeks now, but she's going to be facing Becky Lynch.
Nice. That's cool. I like that. I like Alexa Bliss a lot. We said it last week. She's like rookie of the year contender, man. She's so good right now. Such a good heel. Really like a grinding way of like wrestling. Like she's just really good. I thought this match was pretty good. I love that Becky got the win. I really thought they were going to play it safe and go Nikki, but I'm glad that they didn't. And I really like Becky Lynch becoming the first SmackDown Women's Champion.
I think Alexa Bliss was my pick, but with her being the number one contender now, she's guaranteed pretty much to lose it the first time, so she won't be seeing it for a while. But she's in the conversation.
It's great to see Becky Lynch though, because there is like, if you followed her career, like she almost gave up on wrestling a couple of times, and
she almost lost her eye.
Yeah, I mean, like so it's been a long road. And it's nice to see, like, and she's kind of like, of all the women's revolution wrestlers, she's kind of been the one that's kind of gotten the shaft a little bit. So it's really nice to see her actually like get that title and get that win and get that notoriety. So
yeah, I'd like to see her become a little bit more dominant though as champ. Because I feel like kind of like what you just said. She's been getting the shaft a lot, and she always kind of plays like that weaker character a little bit, not physically, but just like getting duped or getting cheated. I think that if she starts like she's a champ, so she's got to kind of act like it. If she starts like dominating the women there, it'll be nice. She starts getting a little bit more aggressive and just like not being duped, not being tricked into being cheated out of matches and stuff. I think it'll be much better for her if she just starts suplexing the shit out of people and goes on a tear. So I'd like to see that out of her.
I couldn't agree more. She's right now, her character is that white meat 1980s baby face right now that needs to it needs to start getting an edge a little bit. Yeah, no, I agree.
I really liked her interview immediately after the match, which is can we talk about that for a little bit? What's up with the interviews immediately after the match, like right in the ring? I mean,
I like it.
I kind of dig it. Yeah, I dig it. It's just a little awkward at first because I think some people handle it better. I think she did great.
Yeah, they're trying to just capture that immediate emotion that they have after winning the title. I don't know. Some are better than others when it comes to that. But
yeah, she did fantastic though with it. She kind of took her time with it and thanked the fans, and it wasn't repetitive, and it was very nice. The boulder shoulder thing made me laugh. She's like, oh, I don't even know how to hold this thing. Like, I'll throw it over here. Like, that's what I built these boulder shoulders for, or boulder holders on my shoulder. And, like, I just thought it was really funny.
It was boulder shoulders, not boulder holders. Come on.
Boulder shoulders? Boulder holders? Isn't that a bra? Isn't that another?
Over the shoulder boulder holder?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for out of you. Right there. I knew I'd get you to say it.
You just baited me into that?
Yeah, but she's good, man. She put on a good performance. I thought Nikki put on a pretty good performance too for being, fresh off of injury and all that time off. She looked good.
Shane the Jobber says it's going to be No Way Out is the next pay-per-view.
Thank you, Shane the Jobber. Appreciate it. Little assistance, little assist from Shane the Jobber. No Way Out. That makes sense. Yeah. So I'm assuming that Carmella and Nikki continue their feud. They had some heat with Carmella, pinning Nikki, and then kind of giving her a push.
Yeah, she was the second to, she was the one that Becky pinned, right? She was the last girl in, really.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, it was a good spot for Carmella. I did not like her very much in this match.
I like that it wasn't predictable. I like that it wasn't predictable.
Yes.
I thought Carmella would be the first one out.
Yep.
She's just getting no reaction. Like of every wrestler, like I pay attention to, like, especially after her first match, like no one is responding to her. Like she comes out and does her thing, and I see like no, like, my God, like some of the even lowlier female wrestlers are getting more of a reaction than Carmella is. Carmella's getting like nothing.
Yeah, and that's too bad too, because I do like her. She's obviously like a gorgeous girl, and she can wrestle. She definitely had some flops though in that match. I mean, not like a total botch, but it just seemed her timing was a little off. And then, like, I don't know, she's trying to do the heel thing really weird, and like when Nikki slapped her, she started screaming like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I hope that's not her new catchphrase. Like, "Are you kidding me?" Because that's terrible. It was super screechy and annoying, and
screechy and annoying worked for Vicky Guerrero for years.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the direction they're going in, but I wasn't a fan at all. I'm a fan of, her just looking hot and wrestling. No, you know what? I'm not. I'm a fan of her being with Enzo and Cass. Sorry, I said it. Like, so just put her with Enzo and Cass. Jesus.
How dare you not let her stand on her own 2 feet?
It's not that. She can have wrestling matches and also be, like, part of their team. Like, they can do 2 things at once. Like, we say it all the time, like, Attitude Era, everybody carried, like, 3 bags, like, X-Pac was in D-Generation X and, like, the European champion and, like, the tag champion with Kane. And, like, there's all this other stuff going on. It's like, people can do more than one thing. I hate when they just, like, fans are going to get confused. We gotta separate these two. It's not just, we're not the ones getting hit in the head with chairs here. Like, we're smart people. We can figure it out.
And think of the storylines you can do if you have her with Enzo and Cass as like their valet. Like they did in NXT, they could have the Shining Stars, start to hit on her and stuff like that. There's just so much you can do with a valet, and I wish they did more of it. Dude,
Miz and Maurice are like, perfect example. They work so well together as a team.
Oh yeah.
It's such an added, like, commodity for Miz. Like, it's just great. I don't know, but they'll figure it out. I don't know. And then obviously the big news, AJ Styles, new WWE World Champ. Isn't that crazy? How crazy is that to say?
He's so money.
Money. Yeah. So good. That match is pretty good, man. I didn't think it was going to be very good just because I've been kind of on a Dean Ambrose low, but I thought it was good. They kind of brought the best out of him.
I don't know if Dean Ambrose AJ was at like a 9 in that match, and Dean was at like a 6.
Yeah. Dude, all I could think of during that match is like how you were talking last week about his facial expressions, and that's all I kept seeing in that match was like Dean's shitty facial expressions, like how he's just how he's so cartoony. It made me laugh.
You didn't watch SmackDown, you said?
I did not, but you can spoil it for me. Bring it. That's fine. What's up?
Because John Cena came out. And
I heard that. Yes. Yeah.
AJ. Well, then Dean Ambrose came out, blew right by Cena, and said, "No, you know, you had to hit me in the balls to win, and you couldn't beat me." And you know, was just laying it into AJ, you know, talking about a rematch. And John Cena was like, "You know what? Stone Cold was right to bury you."
Oh wow!
It was very real. You know, there was a tinge of truth to everything that they said to each other, and it was awesome.
Man, I look forward.
I love promos that get real.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's still real to you. All
right.
That's the name of the show. Oh God.
No Way Out.
No way.
No Mercy.
No Mercy.
Yeah, it's not No Way Out.
Oh, No Mercy.
Yeah, Shane just corrected me. Shane the Jobber again.
Shane the Jobber. He is on the ball tonight. He is keeping us in check. He's gonna be like our official fact checker.
He's gonna be stat. He's gonna be. He's now known as Stat Boy.
Stat Boy. Shane the Jobber. We like it. Nice. Awesome. What are your guys' thoughts when I say AJ Styles, WWE World Champ? How does that sit well with you guys? I mean, it's one of those things where we never thought we'd see AJ Styles in a WWE ring, let alone him as champ. I mean, when he came in to WWE, I thought, he's gonna be buried in mid card. You know, he'll be the IC champ, but you know, I don't think they're gonna push this guy. Dave, let's start with you. What do you think? What comes to mind when you hear AJ Styles, WWE champ?
I'm totally fine with AJ Styles being champ.
Yeah.
I think he's busted his ass for years. I mean,
I'm not asking if you're okay with it. I think we're all okay with it. But are you surprised? Are you excited? What's
definitely excited. Surprised only in how quickly he got the title. I thought it would at least been another 6 months or so before we all believed, okay, now it's time for him to win the title. So in that regard, I was surprised and excited that he won it, because I thought it would be a little while longer, only because of their history of kind of prolonging it with newcomers, especially guys who made names for themselves outside of WWE, guys who weren't homegrown. They kind of give the shaft to a little bit for a while to prove, to quote unquote prove themselves, to grab the brass ring that Vince always likes to talk about.
The brass ring!
The brass ring.
I think they understand when a guy is, you know, just going to bring in money left over, you know, hand over fist. I mean, they did it with Jericho. Jericho wasn't around all that long before he got a title, so. I mean, he came in hot, right, and everybody knew it, that he was going to put asses in seats. And
right. I mean, I'm happy that they were able to recognize it early on, that this guy is money and that he's going to be a good champion and he's going to put on great matches and that he's going to lift guys, like younger guys, up. And maybe that's the real reason why he's got the belt, because he's going to be that guy that through like fantastic matches is going to bring up younger guys, make guys like young guys who are battling for that chance to be legitimate. You know, that's probably what his job's going to be.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a good role for him. But I was just, like I said, I was so just surprised. I mean, this is crazy that we have AJ Styles as a champ on SmackDown and Kevin Owens the champ on Raw. I mean, it's just like two guys that aren't WWE guys. Like, you know, they're not WWE, you know, molded guys. They come from someplace else, and it's so unusual for guys like that to kind of break through that glass ceiling. I mean, you've seen instances of guys coming and just failing, coming from other organizations, or guys, leaving to go to another organization, being like Christian. I always think of Christian. Like Christian left WWE, went to TNA, and was like the man there, the champ. It was the mouthpiece. Like he was a pretty big draw for TNA. It was like really good times for TNA when Christian Cage was there, and then he comes back to WWE and he can never really break through again. I mean, he was world champ, but like when the world championship didn't really mean anything, when it was definitely playing second fiddle, to John Cena, but it was just, I don't know. I always think of those guys. And now I love that it's different times. It's they're swerving you a little bit. I don't think anybody thought KO was going to be champ this soon, even though we all wanted him to be, but we all kind of thought reality was they're going to leave him for a couple of years. So, dead for AJ Styles.
I don't know. I could have waited a little longer for KO to be champion.
Really? Wow.
No, I'm full of shit. I
know.
it.
I was like, holy shit, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
You orgasmed the second that it happened. Triple H dropped that pedigree. You were.
I actually didn't watch it that night. I made it to the main event, and I said, "Nope, I'm going to bed."
Oh
and
my god!
I watched it the next morning.
Yeah, you woke up with Morningwood, and it was just perfect timing.
I woke up with Morningwood. I'm like, huh, that's awfully hard this morning.
Something must have happened.
Something must have happened, and I went downstairs, took my morning glory, checked the old Twitter feed, and I was like, "Oh no, yeah!" and watched the clips on YouTube and cried a little bit. And
I watched it live, and I told Harmon before the podcast. I watched it live, and the first person I thought of was him, and I regret not going on Twitter immediately following and going, right now, John Harmon has a massive erection because Kevin Owens is the world champion.
It's the pleats.
Listen, it's not a sexual thing, okay? It's just I love the man. All right.
Yeah. He's got. I mean, I think we all do, but you take it, just a step further. I think there's definitely real love there.
If Kevin Owens
do have like 7 Kevin Owens shirts.
if Kevin Owens asks you to rub some baby oil on him before his match, would you do it?
Well, no, that's not going to help anybody.
There was a hesitation now. There was definitely a hesitation. You would. Come on. You totally would.
He'd be like, "Hey, Harmon, I need some baby oil on my arms here, and maybe a little on my leg. Can you?"
And I would be like, I'd be like, "Kevin, if you put baby oil on you, then nobody's going to be able to grab a hold of you. How about we just, we'll throw some water on you, make you look wet. That'll work better."
I like that you have the scenario all planned out, though. That if Kevin Owens ever asks you to put baby oil, your answer is already like in the holster that you're going to say water.
Well, nobody should be putting baby oil before they go in the ring. I mean, that's just disgusting.
No, man, that's what people do.
The Rock did it for years.
Yeah, man.
Like African
prevents rubbing, burns, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what happens. It's a real deal. Oh man, fellas, I'm fresh out. I'm fresh out of because obviously I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown. But what do you guys got? You guys got anything else? Anything else fun happen on Raw or SmackDown?
I now have to go on Amazon.com and see if Kevin Owens has a wish list. Does he need baby oil?
His wish list. Yeah, it's not. It's just zoo passes everywhere.
I've got a rant from Backlash. So
please do bring it.
Obviously, in this whole Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton feud, and Orton not wrestling on Sunday at Backlash. I hope that's not a spoiler for a whole bunch of people out there, but he didn't.
Oh God, it's been almost
in the match. They brought out Kane. Of anybody on the effing roster they brought out Kane. Why?
I don't know.
Just why? Just stop it. Just stop.
Well,
just stop with
I think that they just I think that they just introduced Kane to the SmackDown roster with doing like these
he did
squash matches. Yeah. And
Dave, who would you have had them bring out?
I don't even care. I don't even care if it was like a WWE legend to come out and get like squashed in 3 seconds. Just anybody but Kane. I mean, he's 49 and he's immobile. And
yeah, I don't like his wrestling anymore. He shouldn't be wrestling. He's way past his prime, and he can barely move, like you said. I like Kane as a character. I think he's funny in like that director of operations role, but the Demon Kane thing is getting a little old. I don't know. I'd like to see him. I would have liked to seen him on Raw doing something with like Finn Balor at some point, when Finn comes back. But
he's got a good
I don't
mind.
know.
He's got a good mind for the business. I mean, if they kept him around to teach the younger, bigger guys how to go through a big man match, like, I'm totally cool with that. Like, work with guys.
Yeah,
like
he can
Cass.
take big Cass under his wing.
Yeah, like take big Cass under your wing. Like just stay out of the ring though. That's all I ask. Stay around WWE, but
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think they were looking for somebody who was a credible threat and not a heel, but not quite a baby face. I think they were in a tough spot, and Kane filled it. So I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Harmon. I'm right there with you, Harmon. I didn't hate it. I mean, it was just kind of like for me. What I hated was that Orton wasn't wrestling, and that they I don't know what the deal was. He was still. What's his deal? Like, he wasn't cleared from the stuff that happened at SummerSlam?
He had a concussion from getting, elbows driven into his skull.
Yeah, so, I guess, I don't know, man. I think that they're kind of walking on a thin line there, like where...
Didn't he have a match on SmackDown one night?
Yeah, I thought he did.
I think that...
Maybe he didn't.
I think that's just bad planning. That's just bad planning. That's bad booking on WWE's part then. Like, okay, well, here's a guy who's got a concussion. Maybe we should just give him, like, one pay-per-view off and go from there. I mean, it's against Bray Wyatt. No offense, but they buried Wyatt with his booking anyway. So what's really the difference at this point anyway? So I don't know. And
Kane beat him, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
All it did was hurt Bray.
But on Tuesday, it brought Rowan back into the fold. Eric Rowan is back with the family.
Oh, jeez, again? My God.
Yeah, Big Red.
That's another thing. Why do they keep flip-flopping on that guy?
I don't know. Another thing from Backlash was The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. They really put on a hell of a match.
Yeah, it was a good match. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, it advanced the story, but then on Tuesday they were trying to do it all over again, and it didn't go for me. But The Miz right now is killing it. He's doing his best Jericho impression right now, I think, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, he's firing on all cylinders right now, and like I said, with Maurice at his side, like, they just seem unstoppable. I like the way that match ended. I like her getting involved and like spraying Ziggler. That was very, I don't know, Rick the Model Martel-esque of her. Like, that was just cool. It was a good classic. It seemed like a classic '90s, dusty finish to, including the manager and stuff or the valet. Like, that's what I miss. That's why valets and managers are so important. They can do stuff like that, and
this is why having a heel champion is so good, because they can be champion for so long, and the babyface can chase for so long, and it's all believable because you can do stuff like this, and you get mad at the heel for it,
Right.
So you're mad at the heel because they're cheating. Meanwhile, they still have the title, but after that long period of time, when the babyface can finally win, everybody feels good, feels happy about it, and then realizes the babyface kind of sucks, and then a heel has to take the championship again. So
yeah, they got to do something with Ziggler though. Like, this just bores me that he's in the IC picture again. Like, he's been in the IC picture
since he started.
Like in his whole career, and it's so annoying. Whenever he's beaten like Barrett for it, he's beaten Miz for it. Like, he just always gets the title, and it's just they never really do anything with him. So.
It's a really shitty spot now with Ziggler because basically he has no credibility to become a world champion, and he is kind of too big for the mid card because he's gone through all the mid card titles basically in his career. Like, he has nowhere else to go at this point. Like, if you threw the title on him, then I mean, I don't know if it's believable now because I mean, you know, we talked about this before back when he was, you know, going for the title, that if he didn't win that match against Ambrose, then that was pretty much it. Like, that was pretty much it of buying him as a credible contender for the world title, and then he lost. So then it's like, fucking A, you know, like I'm done with Dolph. I think people are kind of getting done with Dolph. Maybe I'm crazy, but
I'm done.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to see him was this champ, and that was it. And I thought that was like the next step in his career, and then it didn't happen, and then it didn't happen, and then it didn't happen. And so now I'm just like, well, it's never going to happen, and when it does, it's going to, you know, we're all going to be kind of over it. So, I don't know. I'm in the same.
The only thing that can happen for Dolph now is to go, like, honest to God, I think the only thing that could happen for him is to go to another organization, win their world title, and then maybe come back and then be maybe then?
Yeah, I don't even know about coming back. I don't even know about coming back, man. I just think, you know, he goes to like TNA, and man, he makes TNA stronger, you know? And you look at TNA, just they keep getting these guys, you know, Damian Sandow over there, you know, Cody Rhodes is rumored to maybe go over there. You know, there's just a lot. They've got a lot of guys that WWE just fails on and doesn't know what to do with. Like, not to say that TNA would use them any better, but man, there's potential there at least.
EC3.
What's that? Yeah, man, him versus EC3. That's a great match, you know. So, but I don't know.
Look at how hot the Hardys are right now. You know, WWE, let them leave. And
and that was the thing. There's just nothing left for them.
Yeah, now they're the hottest act in wrestling right now.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Something's definitely gonna change.
The hottest act in wrestling that's not WWE.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. All right, fellas. That's about all I have for highlights. You guys want to wrap this bad boy up? Let's do it. Let's do some quickly plugs before we leave. Once again, you guys check us out on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, smarkandmark.com. Get us right there. While you're there, check out some columns from Steven and Josh. You guys check out some Creative Corner from Justin. Those guys do an awesome job. They're putting a lot of time and effort into getting some content out there. So check them out. Again, check out That Wrestling Club. It's the monthly wrestling subscription box. It's the best, man. It's better than all the rest. I love it so much. Just got mine in today, and you're going to have to watch my unboxing video, which most likely will be up very soon. I'll give you a hint. This box I can describe as the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. So take that into consideration. It's very, very good. And go to thatwrestlingclub.com to sign up. Next month, Halloween theme. Check it out. Also, patreon.com/ISR2M. That is our Patreon page. Go there, give us a couple bucks, and we will reward you with some sweet swag, whether it's a t-shirt or show notes or personalized thank you videos, shout-outs on Twitter, or just entries into our monthly giveaway where you guys can get Funko Pop vinyls, WWE licensed merch like posters and DVDs and all kinds of fun stuff. So you guys can win that for a mere $2. That's it, $2. And what else we got? I think that's about it, right? That's about it for plugs. Harmon, where you at on Twitter?
Before I give my Twitter address, I want to thank the folks that tweeted out us during our show. Shane the Jobber.
Yeah.
That's at Shane with a Y, the Jobber, and Amanda at This Lazy Panda.
Yes.
Isn't that it?
I believe so. She is the bomb. And Shane, good looking out for us tonight, buddy. Appreciate it. You guys.
I'm at Harmon 316. Dave, where you at?
I am at Dave_Dyer, and I would also like to just give a shout out to Papa Shango and the Scallops this evening as well. And
Scallops.com.
And food.
Yeah.
Yep. And food. As well.
Food with an extra O.
Food with an extra O.
Dave, anything you want to plug? Any stories, any articles, any Seattle Times gigs? What's going down?
You can follow some of my stuff that I'm doing at herosports.com, where we're making lists every week of top college football performers. I'll be also doing USA hockey.com story here coming up pretty soon on a couple of or the sons of a couple of ex-NHL players, Keith Primeau.
Neat.
And who's the other one? Don McLean, who are playing in a showcase that's coming up pretty soon. A couple of big-time up-and-comers in the hockey ranks. So doing that. And, there may even be possibly some Portland Trailblazer NBA coverage in the not-too-distant future. So keep an eye out on that. So, yeah. So there's some man. There's some things out there.
A lot of stuff in the pot brewing. Nice. I love it.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Sure. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Fashion. Follow the show on Twitter at ISR2M Podcast. And also follow Smark and Mark on Twitter at SmarkandMark_PW. We're all very interactive. Harmon probably the most, I'm going to say. Harmon will always reply. But yeah, thanks for following us. You two fine gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. As always, you guys are amazing. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.